Today, we are going to be using different clocks to tell time. You will need pencil and paper when going through this video. Many people use something like this to show them what time it is. Do you know what this is called? It is a watch. Why do people sometimes wear watches? We wear watches because it tells us the time. It's almost like having a clock with you even when you're outside. And people have watches because they can't always carry around a big clock. Look at this watch. What is the time on this watch? Write it on your paper. It is 3:30. The shorthand is in between the 3 and the 4, and the long minute hand is pointing to the 6. This watch looks a lot like clocks we have been looking at, but sometimes watches and clocks look different from each other. What differences do you notice among these clocks and watches? Here are some ideas. One of them is a square. Some of them have no numbers. Some of them have just a few of the numbers, but not all of the numbers. One of them has weird letters where the numbers should be. And some of these clocks and watches have pointy arrows on the clock hands. Let's use what we know about circles and clocks to help us tell the time even when the clock face looks a little different. Let's look at the square clock. What is the time on this clock? Write the time on your paper. It's 9:30. The short hour hand is between the 9 and the 10, and the long minute hand is pointing to the 6. So we can say that this is 9:30 or 9:30. Let's look at the next clock. This clock only has 4 numbers: 3, 6, 9, and 12. What time does the clock show? Write your answer on the paper. This clock shows 4 o'clock. The shorthand is pointing to the 4, even though you can't see the number 4. The long hand is pointing to the 12. I knew this was a 4 because if I look right in front of it, there's the number 3. So when I'm counting, I would count 3 and then 4. So I know that 4 is going to come right after 3. So this shows 4 o'clock. What time does this clock show? Imagine the numbers that are missing. Write the time on your paper. It shows 11 o'clock. Even though I cannot see the number 11, that short hour hand is pointing to the 11. There again, I know when I'm counting, 11 comes right before 12. So 11 o'clock. My minute hand, the long hand, is pointing on the 12. So I just explained to you, how did you know that it shows 11 o'clock? Since the minute hand was on the 12 and the hour hand was just before that, we know it would be 11 o'clock because 11, 12. What time is shown on this clock? Write your answer on your paper. This clock shows 3:30. The shorthand is in between the 3 and the 4, and the long hand is pointing to the 6. Even though we might not know the Roman numerals that are on this clock, we can tell what the numbers are on the clock. In this lesson today, We reviewed how to tell time to the hour and half hour by using different clocks to tell time.